How's it going, hounds, friends of hounds, and future hounds, man? So glad to have everybody here today. Today's topic is fitting, overcoming massive challenges. Uh, and that's what I had trying to get on this daggum live stream. So we're here with the man, the welcome wagon, leader of the welcome wagon in the HOB Hounds of Business, D. Grant Smith. You like to be called D. How are you today, man?
Fantastic, dude.
Fantastic. I like it. So, before you and I get started, right, we're gonna go through some people. I mean, we love spotlighting amazing professionals that do great work, and we've
Mhm.
got a guest. She is phenomenal, man. Amazing story, big impact, and somebody who takes pain and struggle and challenge, massive challenge, and uses it for the good. And you got to be inspired by it. You're the master storyteller, dude, right? So you know, you gotta love it, because a lot of people fold under that. I mean, and right, we understand that. I mean, damage and pain is huge, but you just gotta look at people who can overcome that, or while they're overcoming that, and then they help others through that process, man. It's just amazing. So I can't wait to get going. Um, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and run the intro. Let's do it a little backwards. We give people time to come in. I don't even know if anybody's in here. Kenny
Yeah, we got some
D's in here.
people.
Okay. Check that out. So the LinkedIn gods do not want me and Kenny D hanging out. Ken Dunn, you're a
Mm.
good dude, man. I gotta figure it out. I'll put a customer ticket in. I've got to get it to where we can talk again. Because every week or two, somebody else says, "Hey, Kenny D said hi," and I have to go like relay. It's sad. So Kenny, good to see you, man. Oh, here we go. Well, we got to run the intro. People are here early. We got Tracy Lamb. Thank you, Tracy. Good to see you, man. TV network, caregiving worldwide, all that good stuff. And then we've got the first nonprofit of the hounds that we fully endorse, support, and proud to partner with HR4U. Pay equity. It's a big deal, man. People struggle out there. We want to get the show going. So hey, without further ado, if I can find the buttons, and our guy Lion, we got to say hey to Lion. Runs the backstage for us. Um, Needs a little time out, so we miss you, Lion. We appreciate you, and we know you're here, probably lurking on us. So we appreciate that, brother. All right, well, let me find a dadgum button. See, y'all gonna know how. All right, and then I had Isabel Fortin, who couldn't get in. So hey, you're in for a treat, man. Grab an extra drink. You're gonna need it. All right, so we're gonna make this happen. Hey, good times, brother.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashebrainer, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
All right, my good man. All right, let's see. I get too excited. I'm gonna go play in the comments. That's. Did you see the ladies? You see CJ Level Up
Yeah.
Academy, Sandra
Uh-huh.
Gonzalez, Susanna
Uh-huh.
Don. Did my show does better when I'm not on it? There's something to that. You know, why?
Eh,
It's not the Mike Asherbrainer show, dude. It's the Hounds of Business. And
mm.
I'll be honest, CJ, I know you're out there. I handed over the car keys it was like handing over the car keys to your 16-year-old who just got licensed. It was great. But, how are you supposed to get trust if you don't give it, man? And if you can't trust those superstars, I mean, who can you trust? So, got to give the ladies a shout out last week. You dominated it. You killed it. And man, I am so blessed to be around you and all the great folks in the Hounds and friends of the Hounds. Look, speaking of which, Jackie Hallberg tripping with Jax.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, what a super pro. I've never seen an audio room that good. When I teach my course, she's going to have to start charging me because I said, this is the best audio rooms I've ever seen. Y'all got to go follow Jackie. Absolutely amazing. All heart, got a big, huge following, and it's obvious why. So go connect with like minded people who care about others, get that show on the road. And let's go ahead. And Scott Patrick, good to see you. Happy to have you. All right. So if y'all don't know this, Jen Drummond, all right, because we want to spotlight people doing amazing things. This woman is absolutely amazing. This book is for everyone. So we want to make sure that folks know what's good out there, right? It's like having a Picasso. If it's sitting in a cave with the lights off, It's not useful. You can't change your daggum life, right? So we got this lady, car wreck, just made a life change, a big decision to live life to the fullest. She has figured out she's the world record holder for the second 7 summits, which is more difficult than the first, right? So that's what everybody said. So I'm not climbing anything soon. But this woman walks the walk, but she talks the talk, D. I mean, this I cannot wait to crack open and get. I've read a couple chapters. I can't wait to read the whole thing. I was honored to be part of her pre-launch team. So guys, scan the QR code. You can go to jendrummett.com, jendrummett.com. You will not be sorry. A down to earth, wonderful human being, and we just love it. Thank you for being a friend of the Hounds, Jen. Very inspiring. All right, who's up? Another book. Man, the Hounds has more books than I've read than I've read. Now I'm writing one. We'll get to that in a minute. Writing in one. I'm not writing one. So Gary Miles, the free lawyer, 40 years of experience, right? So people go to law school, they come out, they try to make money, and life does what it does. It gets hard, right? So tap into this guy. Amateurs do things alone. You notice that, D?
Hmm.
I was an amateur for 40 years of my life. It was a rough 40 years, man. Professionals, top level athletes, pros, business owners, man, they have coaches, multiple coaches, right? And Gary is that guy. He's been there, he's done that. And why would you drive off a bridge if somebody like Gary stay on the side saying, "Hey, don't go there. The bridge is out." How do you know? Because I drove off of it 12 times. That's Gary Miles, guys.
Hmm.
He knows what not to do, but more importantly, he knows what to do. And here's the fun thing about Gary. He can help anybody, not just attorneys, but that's where his wheelhouse. So scan the QR code, go to GaryMiles.net. Love having this guy in the Hounds. I was on his podcast, the Free Lawyer Podcast. It's phenomenal. Stand-up audience, great people. If you're an attorney or anybody that works around attorneys, definitely reach out to Gary. You will not be sorry, man. Who's up? Oh, that's me. Look at that. Goodness gracious. I don't know what baby toy they rattled to make me smile like that, but hey, they did. So let me tell you, y'all talk about the Hounds of Business community. I am the proud founder and leader of that. We got D. Grant Smith here. He is the leader of the Welcome Wagon, right? And let me tell you, just insanity of what's happening. In February, we're rolling out unseen before networking events. We got professionals, top level pros coming to the Hounds. We got magazines, radio. Dude, we got working with ESPN correspondents with Mike King Biz. It is not a joke over here. Okay, so we are evolving and transforming like wildfire. So DM me or anybody in the chat that says Hound. Let people know you're a Hound in the chat. All right. Jackie and all you folks, let people know who you are so they can DM. They don't have to just talk to me. All right. D. Grant Smith, go ahead and put your stuff in there for us. Um, it is amazing. I want you guys to come in, tap into this. It's unbelievable. If you want visibility, want to be seen, want to connect with some of the best heart-centered professionals on planet Earth, it's the Hounds of Business. All right, hands down. So be a part of this foundational evolution. We're taking it to a whole next level, whole nother level. And so definitely reach out to me, DM me, keyword Hound, so I actually know and see it, and would love to chat. We do town halls every week. This is a great time, and they're networking, D, inside the town hall. The town halls and the group calls are like little mini Hounds events, man. And we're always looking for good stories. So this is a great time to come out, get to know people, and let us plug you into where you're going to thrive the best. All right. So forget the goofy smile, just scan the QR code. That's my best advice. All right. And last, but certainly not least, Dr. CJ, Constance Leland, Level Up Academy, PB&J. Actually, it's more like a match and a gas, right? It's when we combine forces and the thing is just blown off the hinges. So I have to give full credit to CJ, Dr. CJ. You're phenomenal. All the books, the anthologies, all of the resources that somebody needs. She's basically just a one-stop shop business hub. All right. So now we combine forces, and that's what the Hounds is about, pushing people up. Well, I just started. Good. We need you. Well, I'm on my next 10 million. Yeah. And you can do 20 here, right? We just reach back and pull people up. That's what we're about. Unique, special, heart centered, not perfect, but come as you are, make each other better. That's what we do, guys. It's kind of like just show up, test drive it. But we're going to a whole nother level. Thank you, CJ. So if folks want to get involved with summits and all kind of things that can push up and help you grow, you got to scan the QR code, guys. Remember, Level Up Academy. Follow her on LinkedIn. You can go on YouTube. It is amazing. So that's it. I think that's the last one. Hey, look at that. We ain't never went through this that fast. All right. Well, without further ado, and remember, everybody, I am running the show by myself. So prayers and fingers crossed and stuff. Yeah, to keep that up. All right. But we've got this. Let's
You
see.
got
Let's
this,
bring her
Mike.
up. Hey,
Hi.
somebody's got to have it. There you go. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, well,
My
I'm
hound
just gonna
is,
say
this is my
fine.
hound.
Oh,
She
let's just say,
decided to
what kind
join
of
us.
hound?
She's a Chihuahua. She's
Oh,
yeah, she's a survivor
oh, she
too. I
got
got her.
attitude.
Yeah, she does. She's like, I don't even want. She's like, you didn't ask me if you didn't get a consent form. I tell everybody she's my manager. She's always with me on these things.
She copyrighted her
Winner.
face. We owe her money now. We should have done
Right.
that, right? So let me introduce. We just met. I really don't know much about you. I didn't need to. So on Jackie Hallberg show, I messed it up. I showed up to her audio, and you were the first one to talk. And let me spoil it. I didn't think nobody's gonna be there. Jackie said all the games on and stuff. It's Sunday, and I'm like, I'll show up. And like a million people showed up, and you showed up. So
Yeah,
I
she's
raised my
got the
little virtual
best.
hand.
Yeah, she's got the best the LinkedIn audios. I've just recently started doing them and I'm hooked. Like I'm just like this is great. And doing, or like, Ollie's doing his going to his room, or Kevin, Mr. Mingle going to their rooms, and so Jackie and I'm really enjoying doing them and getting to know everybody. And that's how we met.
Oh yeah, and your story, it made me want to not talk because I said, "How am I going to follow that?" I just came here to give it inspiration and kudos to everybody, but because of you, I got it. So tell the folks, tell them your story if you don't mind, because today's a special day, right? What is today?
Yeah. Today is it National Human Trafficking Awareness Day? Because we just had National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So there's several of those throughout the year. So I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but it's something about trafficking today for Awareness Day or something like that.
Right.
But I've been seeing stuff everywhere. I get so confused because we just came out of National Human Trafficking National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. But like I tell everybody, January is just January for us. These days that people, and I'm glad that there are awareness days, but we do this work 24/7. So just to give you like a short background, I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I was trafficked from 2002 to 2005 in Virginia. And I got out and I went to a program called Thistle Farms in Nashville. And if you're ever looking for an organization to support or just to find out more about trafficking and stuff, just look them up. It's thistlefarms.org. They're a great organization. And I received services from them. And when I was there from 2005 to 2009. And when I got out, they gave me a job and I was the event coordinator, and we would schedule these events and we would sell we would make like bath and body products and go sell and tell our story. And I just really, it just stayed on my heart because when I got out, and I'll just, real quick, when I got out, the last 8 months of what I was doing, I was actually abducted and I was held in a basement where I was not allowed to leave. And the way that I got out is my dad found out where I was, and him and my brother came and were like, we want Kristen and we want her now. And the guys there knew that my dad would bring a lot of heat to the house. So they were like, Kristen, you got to go. So they got me out, but it took, them coming. I think they had a baseball bat and they were not leaving without me. That was a gift. That was a huge gift. That was a blessing. I mean, there's so many, only between 1% and 4% of victims ever even make it out. So I believe with that gift comes their responsibility. And that responsibility for me is to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else and to do everything that I can. So since then, I've worked as a grant writer, an event coordinator, a speaker, different things. Like, for example, I'm doing some stuff right now with One God Foundation, and we're doing some new initiatives. I work contractually for Freedom Network and Polaris and places like that. So, it's there's a lot going on. It's such a complex issue, and there's so many ways to attack it, through tech, through healthcare, through the legal system, through just private individuals. And so I kind of just am involved in like a little bit of each one of those. So and I just have to stay busy. And I want to just emphasize this: if you are an organization, or if you are supporting an organization that's an anti-trafficking, make sure that they have survivors involved. Make sure that there are survivors on the board. Make sure that there are survivors engaged at every level, because so many organizations just waste money doing it so wrong because they don't talk to survivors. We're here. We're very accessible. And also pay survivors. If you do have survivors working for you, pay them, and pay them appropriately, and advocate for organizations to pay survivors appropriately. Because here I am 22 years removed from it, and there's some months when I don't know how I'm going to pay my electric bill. So there's lots of 18 to 24 month programs to get you out. But once you get out, there's no aftercare. So that's something that is really close to my heart. And that's something that I work with a lot of survivors that are 10, 15, 20 years removed, and, helping them avoid evictions, or, going back to school, or, just different stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's sort of me in a nutshell.
No, hey, I appreciate it. Dude, I know this is a heavy subject, but it's real. This happens. It is amazing and unbelievable and horrible that this kind of stuff happens in 2024. And, I have a bad day and it messes my day up, but I've never been through anything close to what you have. And so, um, we always say courage before confidence. What gave you
Oh yeah.
because a lot of people, it's a lifetime healing process, right? So what
Mhm.
motivated you to, while you're still going through your healing, to have the courage to go out and do what you're doing to share the story? So help
Um,
others.
Yeah, and on the lifelong journey part, I mean, I always say that like trauma and grief are just like the gifts that keep on giving. They just the weirdest things will pop up, and it'll bring back those memories so quickly. But and that's why I encourage anyone who's been in any kind of trauma to please get appropriate therapy. But I will say that the thing that did encourage me, and the thing that still does encourage me 100% is community, the people around me. Not necessarily, I mean, sometimes my family, but the other survivors, people, organizations I work with, my friends. There's no way that I could have done this, or could keep doing it, or even think about anything without this village of people that just came around me and totally just enveloped me, like literally swooped me out of a situation, took me immediately from one situation to like a horrible situation to a situation where I had access to services. I had 30 other girls around me. It's a residential program, and they built me back up. I mean, I'm a broken person, and I work with other broken people, and I say that we try to put each other back together again each day. And then I'm not perfect, and things are, can get really hectic, can get really chaotic in my life. But I know that I went through that, and all that I have to do is just lean on the people around me. And I've built up, and I mean, and it's crazy because even on LinkedIn, I've made some amazing friends on LinkedIn that I've not met in person, but that I will tell you that they're my brothers and my sisters. I call this the adult social media platform. And so, it's a journey, but, we can't stay siloed. And that's the other thing about, networks, is everybody in this organization, or this field, stay siloed because it's so competitive. So we've got to really start to work together, because it's competitive because of lack of funding. But we have to start working together and make that community, and provide that community for everyone that wants to get out.
Yeah, and collaborate. I can tell you're just
Mhm.
kudos for you to put yourself out there.
Thank you.
I have no clue. And a lot of us don't, and thank God we don't. But you're here to prevent, treat, help other people go. I couldn't imagine. I have daughters. I just, like it's absolutely heartbreaking. So you have organization that you work with and champion, right? So tell
Mhm.
us about that, and where can folks go to help and be a part of this mission? Because I can't imagine anybody who wouldn't want to be a part of support, monetary, or just being there. I mean, I'll do what I can to in the Hounds. I know CJ, we got tons of resources. So tell us about the organization, and just a real quick, how did we help?
Okay, so it's One God Foundation. It's the number one God Foundation, and it was started by a veteran. His name is Dan Stinson. You guys might know him. He's a pretty active LinkedIn guy. His name is Daniel Stinson, and his wife Nicole. He's a veteran, and so they started it, and it's really really cool. So there's three things that they work for. Number one is helping veterans. The second one's helping trafficking survivors, And the third one is domestic like disaster relief. They also they were very instrumental in the Afghan evac. They actually adopted someone from there, and she's now getting ready to, I think, go to law school. So they're really big in that. So what we do is we're a newish organization, and we provide what we're raising money to do right now is to be able to provide veterans with services, or with housing, with just different things they need, access to medical care, or a ride, or like a card to take them to appointments, like if they have regular VA appointments, or just help them navigate that whole system. Because I mean, geez, you guys, it's ridiculous. The other thing is helping trafficking survivors. And so one thing the initiative that we're doing right now that I want to tell everybody about is, so I did it at Christmas. I raised money on LinkedIn for stockings for survivors. And we were able, and I sent them all down to We Fight Monsters, and they were able to give out, I think we had enough for like 10 stockings, and I had like, cash gift cards, first of all, and then different, like just self-care stuff, bath and body lotion, stuff like that, blankets. So now we're doing it for One God Foundation for Valentine's Day. So I think if there's not a link on that page, there will be soon. But we're raising money for that, and we're going to do like self-care boxes for them for like the month of love, and we're going to send them to survivors all over America. So that's what we're working on right now. So if anybody has any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. And also too, I'm very accessible. If anybody has any more questions about like just trafficking in general, if there's a situation, if you have someone that needs a referral somewhere, somebody called me the concierge of anti-trafficking because I know everybody. So if there is somebody that, or if you see a suspected, or if you have, or just anything that has related to that, I'm really easy to talk to, and you can ask questions or shoot me a message, or yeah. And I really appreciate you guys letting me come on.
I know Dee's got a question, but I just got to say it. Who doesn't love you? All right. I mean, daggone. Sweet Jesus. Hey, you and I, we're going to talk. We're going to do anything we can to help you and support and get you out there, because I can't think of I can't even talk right now. It's horrible. And your courage and your heart, absolutely, that's what it takes. D, go ahead, brother.
Well, I just wanted to say something. You mentioned a minute ago, Kristen. You said that that you work with broken people and that you still consider yourself a broken person. I want to kind of give you a different perspective on that, because I don't see a broken person when I look at you. What I see is this amazing, incredible woman who, if it were me, poor puppy.
Sorry, my dog. She's sorry about that.
It's okay. It's totally okay. Like Mike said, like I can't even like imagine what it's like to have gone through that experience, come out, have any sort of functionality in terms of social interaction with people anyways, but your willingness to put yourself out there into the world, to have a smile on your face, to have radiance in your eyes, to have love emanating from your heart and coming through in every word that you speak, you are a transformational person. There's no brokenness in you whatsoever, not even a tiny, tiny itty bitty percent. It's all magnificent. And so I want to just like thank you and praise you for the inspiration that you've given me in just 23 minutes of you sharing your story. Like I know a lot of inspirational people. I don't think I've ever met anybody as inspirational as you. So thank you for being you. And like, I don't have a question to ask. I think I just wanted to like send you that encouragement, because, oh my God, you're incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good Lord. All right. So everybody go to onegodfoundation.org, plug in, help, support, and follow. I think I put your link up there. All right. You got our name. We'll put it up there throughout the show. Thank you so much for just your heart, your bravery. I'm all in. So whatever I can do, you name it, we can do it. I will do it. So thank you for that. And my gosh, hey, you and that little angry dog over there gets me. That dog was giving me dirty looks backstage. It was.
Yeah,
it said,
we're gonna have a chat about that.
Yeah. I think it's copyrighted its face. I might owe the dog.
Yeah.
But hey, we're hounds. We like dogs. It's okay. Hey, you're fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll have to have you back on. We'll definitely have you back on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate I really appreciate you guys letting me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my honor. All right. Hey, Go check your inbox. You got some stuff in there. I guarantee it. All right. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
great. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Wow.
You know, yeah. Daggone, man. Stuff's real out there. It's not a joke, man. And that's where, how blessed are we to be able, and what's going on with the camera? All right. How blessed are we, man? Honestly, it's just so much going out in the world today. This is what she said, community. I said, you know what? I mean, we've had people in the hounds. I mean, other communities, sure. But in the hounds, we've had people that, tragedy in their life. And we didn't shy away from that. We leaned into that. And that's what made the difference. So yeah, Kristen is absolutely amazing. And on that topic, um, overcoming massive challenges. That was it. I mean, we could just close the show right now. But again, even if it's not, we all have challenges, D. We all have challenges, and it's all, relative to what we're focusing on. So if anything, Kristen just, I mean, wow. So what is your take on the things that like business and life and all this stuff where Restream doesn't work? I can't get the damn camera link. Right? We deal with this stuff daily, right?
Mm.
So how do you frame it? You're the master storyteller, and you're great at what you do. In fact, you're the only reason I'm actually going to write a sensical chapter in a book, right? Because you have that superpower. So I appreciate you in advance for the great Susanna Dawn anthology and CJ. But what is it that you like to do? How do you frame? Because you think of superheroes and all these things, and you and I talk nerd now all the time. So tell the folks kind of how you process this, man. It's real interesting. I want to, and audience, chime in, ask questions, network with each other, be seen. Don't pitch slap with a P, but
Mm.
go out there and really get to know each other, encourage one another. Uh, Chat. This is your time. If you're worried about a viral post, you can get more followers here and more fun than you do trying to get engagement all day long. So make this your show, guys. We'll spotlight who we can. But D, take it away, man. Share your story because it's a good one.
Well, I think that tonight what you've done, Mike, is or what we've done, I guess, is you can go to a great concert and have all these opening acts that are kind of like subpar sort of bands until you work your way up to the headlining act. I really feel like Kristen was the headlining act, man. Because if we're talking about overcoming massive challenges and hearing her story, I mean that's beginning at the top. And then everything we're doing, anything I could say, whether I'm a master storyteller or a novice or an amateur, or I'm a second grader with a pencil, just hoping I can spell my name right. Like, regardless of the nature of anything, it's all just like we've reached this mecca, and now we're just adding to the inspiration that's already here. So again, thank you, Kristen, for laying down that badass foundation. Just absolutely incredible. In terms of overcoming challenges and looking at how we see ourselves, I think this is something that I'm coming into a greater awareness of. Recognizing, and I'm not going to speak for anybody but myself, okay? In the challenges that I've faced and the trials and the tribulations and things that felt like absolute hell for me, when I look back at those situations, I was having a conversation about this earlier today. I wouldn't go back and change anything. I would, as difficult and painful as those situations were, and as much as I hated going through them, I recognize now I had to go through that fire to get to this point. Like, I wouldn't be able to sit here and have these kinds of conversations, have this level of confidence, knowing exactly who I am, standing in my power, operating at my full zone of genius. Wouldn't be able to do it. I'd still be shrinking back. I'd still be hiding from other people. I wouldn't know how to answer any questions. I'd be stumbling over myself left and right. I'd be rambling all over the place. You'd be wondering, like, is this guy ever going to get to a point? Is he ever going to say anything that matters to me? The fire helped burn the crap off of me so I could know who I am. And I could sit here and I could tell you exactly what's going on, and I can be my full self. And I think it's important for us to look back at our stories, the most painful, difficult, trying things we've been through. And we went through those for a purpose. Whether you look at it as divinely orchestrated or something that, you happen to, you had to go through this and have this life lesson, regardless of how you look at it, look at yourself and say, damn, dude, this is what that experience produced. About, let's see, I gotta do some math in my head. 2020, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I went through what was for me just utter hell. I went through divorce, never saw that coming. That was me going through hell. But in the process, I learned that I had no idea what love really was. I didn't know how to love myself. And because of that, that's why I suffered. Not just in that relationship, but every relationship. Not just in relationships, but in jobs and in all kinds of other places. That led to my spiritual awakening. That led to a different kind of storytelling. That led to me understanding that the story I tell myself about who I am is a story that I'm going to live out. And if I don't do a really good job of being very mindful of what is the story I'm actually telling myself about me that I'm going to embody, I can try to change other people. I can try to convince them that they should believe in me. I can seek after their validation, their approval, and their acceptance. And I'm going to be trying to sell a used car that doesn't work because the only person that I have to convince is myself. And so when I look back at my history, recent, trials and tribulations, heartbreaks, whatever, past heartbreaks, trials and tribulations, I needed all of those experiences. They all carved this. My first name is David. They all carved this beautiful marble David, still being carved. Michelangelo is the God of love that lives inside of all of us, not outside, inside. And he's always carving us, making us more chiseled, more strong, more vibrant, more beautiful. That's for me, storytelling, that's the story we're all living. And we get to decide, though, coming out on the other side of whatever pain and difficulty that we've been through, we get to decide, who is it that I'm going to be? What story am I going to tell about myself? Am I going to let the challenges define me, or am I going to define the challenges moving forward? Am I going to define myself moving forward?
Dude, well said. Again, everybody out here, we're just in the second month of the new year. All right. And I can't believe it, dude. It's, man, 1 out of 12 months is already gone. So audience, people in the comments, keep it rolling. What is your biggest challenge right now? And again, it could be, it's your challenge. Don't judge, right? We're not going to judge and say, well, that's not a challenge. Well, it may not be for me, but it may be for you. And what you said, D, and folks, chime in with this. It's the iceberg effect. And I love that because we see like the success and the stuff at the surface, but we don't see all the sacrifice and the pain and toil. And I have been, lots of people, but I have been through a lot of that myself, right? So I call it rags to riches in real time. What I love about our guests and our show and our community is no matter where they're at, no matter what challenges they're facing at the moment, what successes, that you're seeing it real time, right? Like we're not hiding it. We're not trying to mask it. And, we can be ourselves. I mean, this is a place where you can just be yourself and become your best self together. And that makes it special. So what are some of the things, I guess, challenge wise, what's your take on this? People, human beings, we can't grow unless we go through a lot of pain and crap we don't want. Right. And I have learned that if the man who's going to lead this community to unbelievable heights, and it's going to change millions of lives, it's not the man I am today, right? There's gonna have to be a whole lot of growth and strength and learning and churning going on there, D. So what's your best advice, or get the conversation going? What is something that how do you think of this? Because you think of comic books and movies, and there's a reason we as people love it. How do you look at challenges now? You used to look at challenges like, oh no, and try to avoid the challenge. How do you lean into that now? Because it sounds crazy and it's painful and it sucks. So how do you lean into it, and why?
Well, I'm going to use a movie reference that you and I are both very fond of, and I think it's very appropriate. Also, last time I was on your show, I was decked out as Superman. I got Rocky Balboa going on now.
Yeah, Carl Weathers passed. You told me that. That's sad.
So, tribute to Carl Weathers. I look at this. Yeah. So my favorite movie is Rocky 3. Because Rocky 3 tells the story of all of us going through trials, tribulation, and especially trauma. And I think this is actually very appropriate for what we're talking about here in a variety of different ways. But What happens when we go through trials, obstacles, challenges, and especially traumas that impact us on an emotional level is we can stay stuck in that drama and trauma and sad story over and over and over again and not be able to see a way out. And no matter what we try to do or how many people try to convince us that we need to get back in the game, and come on, like, you're not putting in enough effort. You're not efforting enough. You're not trying hard enough. Come on, what's wrong with you? And because all you're doing in your head, you're going through the effort, you're going through the motions, but in your mind and in your heart, you can't escape the trauma that you experienced. It just keeps playing over and over and over again. It keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. And you have to decide, okay, am I going to continue to listen to this thing that's inside of me that keeps telling me what used to be who I was before and like haunting me like a never-ending ghost story? Or am I going to come within myself, access the love that is within me, and choose something different? Choose to harmonize myself with something different. And whether it's business, something in your personal life, something else that you've experienced, something in your family, whatever it is, you have to decide, and we have to decide this, we have to retrain ourselves and how we're going to perceive things. We have to retrain ourselves for what lens we're going to look at things through. And it's a process. It takes discipline. One of my keywords for this year: discipline and commitment. Discipline and trust. Commitment's a part of the process. Yeah. But I've got to trust the process, and I've got to be disciplined to focus only on what it is that I want and not let myself get distracted by anything else. But in this discipline process, I have to, one of my favorite teachers is a guy named Ernest Holmes. He wrote a book in 1918 called Creative Mind and Success. And in this book, he said this one phrase that I want to get tattooed on my arm somewhere, in terms of, I'm not going to tattoo the whole quote because it'd take forever, but just captioning it like an acronym. What he said is, see only what you wish to experience. Look at nothing else. And I realized that when we're healing from something we've been through before, we're overcoming some sort of massive challenge, we have to put our focus and our drive on only what it is that we want to experience. Your question about the man that's going to lead the Hounds and this giant organization that's going to impact millions of people, you putting your focus, Mike, on being right now, not waiting for it to happen in the future. You deciding right now, I am the man that has that power. I am the man that has that strength. I am the man that has that wisdom. I am the man right now that has that fortitude. I choose to be that person. I choose to be that version of myself now because he already exists. He's already inside of me. It's not something that I have to get to at some point. Bring the then into the here and now and choose to be that person and put your focus only on that. Right now, I'm already the guy that I imagine myself to be. That's the way that I'm operating. Nice. I don't need my physical reality to tell me, okay, this is finally true. Yes, you now have all this money. Now you have all this recognition. Now all these people recognize you as the world's greatest storyteller. I don't have to wait for anybody to tell me that. I'm the author of my story. I'm that person now. And so from that perspective, that's what Rocky had to do in Rocky 3. Because everything around him, he's trying to work out. He's trying to train like Apollo's trying to train him. But all he can play in his head is getting his ass handed to him by Clubber Lang, beaten to a pulp and losing Mickey. Right. And he keeps replaying that story over and over and over again. And it's not until he gets on the beach and he's willing to give up and Apollo's ready to give up. But Adrian, who represents his heart, comes in and says, what is really going on? And he finally admits to being afraid. And she's like, there's nothing wrong with being afraid. And he thinks that there is, that makes him less than or unworthy. And she's like, no. Yeah. It doesn't make you unworthy. It makes you human. But you have to decide why you're doing this. It can't be for me. It can't be for Apollo. It can't be for the fans, and it can't be for the money. It's got to be for you. And if you'll decide to choose yourself, then everything will take care of itself. And in that moment, he makes that decision. And he decides to choose himself. And then the story changes. And then his training changes. And then Rocky changes. And he becomes a different person and a different fighter. And when he steps in the ring the second time against Clubber Lang looks him in the eyes and says, I'm going to bust you up. And Rocky, with a different look in his eyes, stares back at him with a stone cold grimace and says, go for it.
Go for it.
Different story.
Yeah, we just nerded out right there. Hopefully everybody, I know somebody else said go for it when we said, because you probably sat there in your little Mr. T PJs watching this a million times, right? Rocky 3. But D, you said so much there to unpack because yeah, it's a movie and it's scripted, but dadgummit, we like movies because it's real life. That's how our lives. And man, it's been a long time since I went through some tragedy, but it happened. I went through a lot of stuff recent months, and I don't really talk about it a lot, but I do. I don't talk about it live, but a couple points that I want the audience and the people here, man, I love you all. And a couple things. Who is your Adrian, right? There was somebody that came in your life at the worst time, and they spoke to you. And I'll be honest, this is one of the things that I love. This is a gift. You know how people tell you should do stuff, and they keep encouraging you, and you keep telling them no, no, no. Everybody out there knows what I'm talking about. So for some reason I'm blessed to be the guy when I say the same thing you've heard a million times, people take action when I say it. And it's the most fun thing I've ever seen. But let me give you the spoiler alert. If I hadn't went through hell many, many times, I wouldn't have the empathy, the experience, and the knowledge to help someone. I mean, I had people call me, it seemed like every day last month. And I'm like, I'm not Dr. Phil. Like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I supposed to say to this? But you know what? I lived it. I've been there. If I'm able to help someone not go through an extra 3 months of turmoil, that's why we had the mess. That's why we went through this, right? So tag somebody that you don't have to tell them what and get all deep. But tag somebody you appreciate, tell them thank you. You've probably been too busy to show gratitude if you're like us. Tag them and say thank you, guys. Say thanks for being there because I've had a lot of people, you know, when we let go of something, it's hard. And I think that's the biggest when you're facing a life challenge, our instinct is to hold on.
Hmm.
I think of it like a monkey. If you see a monkey swinging from one vine, before he grabs another vine, there's a suspension. You let go of the one vine, you're hoping to grab the other one, but you haven't yet. And that's where I think that's why we love these movies. That's why we love this. But more than that, to have somebody to actually be there for you is phenomenal, right? So who is that? Who's been that in your life recently in the past, D? And audience, chime in. Who has been that person that really just put you back on track, cleaned you up, helped you heal, and moved you forward to greatness?
Too many people for me to count, and definitely too many people for me to list. Because I think in different seasons of our lives, we're gonna have different Adrians. I mean, some of us are gonna have some of the same people all the way through. My good buddy sorry, my good buddy Topher Fangio is one of those people for me. My good friend Stephanie, my bestie Taryn, some members of my family. Now I've got hounds that are reaching out to me. Like, and I'll be honest, like Mike and I have known each other linearly, like in terms of the map of the calendar, not even a year yet. But this dude is the real deal Holyfield, and you can like sense things about me. Mike has reached out to me and been like, "Hey man, how are you doing?" When I am feeling like utter crap, and I haven't told him how I'm feeling, but you can sense it. And because you care, and because you're the real deal and you're genuine about like, when you say you care about people, like you actually show it, man, like
Yeah.
you're one of those people, man. So I appreciate you, buddy.
No, I mean, I appreciate you, and that's the thing. It's birds of a feather should flock together, D. And I only I can sense things because I've been through things, right? That y'all call me empath, and you're right. I mean, I'm very in tune with things. But that's what's so special that we want that I can pick up on it. I can pick up on a text message. When you text me, I'm like, oh, something wrong with D, right? Or he's busy or something's going on. And a lot of us, Isabel, a lot of us are that way. And that's the power of the community. That's the power of connection. That's somebody that likes you for you. I honestly can't believe that I can get away with the stuff I get away with, and y'all still follow the leader and you follow each other. And I think that's special. I'm just at a loss for words. This show has just went crazy in the deep, but this is what it's for, guys. We need to be able to talk about these things. It's not a man thing. It doesn't make you macho or not macho to talk about it. Here's how I frame it. Is it much better to seek help, do therapy? Uh, I did all kind of stuff during my I just wanted to be better. I didn't want to hold
Mhm.
on to it. Like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and put it out there because there's some guys in here. What's more manly? Holding it in and kicking a stray cat on your way home and being rude to your family, or opening up to somebody who can trust that can help you and guide you, whether it's a professional or a friend that's been there. We got to stop the whole machismo thing in the negative and focus that in on doing what's good for us, our people, our families, our coworkers, our business partners. And honestly, in my opinion, that's speaking up and trusting other people. I think the key there is trusting the right people. You got to be discerning because I know sometimes people been out there. We trust the wrong people. So how do you go about knowing who you can pour your heart out to when shit, life is the hell? I mean, that when you're a vulnerable state, how do we get to know who to reach out to? How do we know to trust somebody, man?
Well, I think this is something that takes practice, just like everything else. But I think the more that we grow and the more that we experience what real empathy and real compassion feels like, we can kind of sense who those people are when we have conversations with them. And usually we can kind of tell on the front end pretty fast. In just the past, I would say 2 or 3 months, um, the number of hounds in particular, probably a good 10, 15 very awesome, amazing individuals that I feel this very genuine connection with. We've had maybe a grand total of 3 conversations, maybe less, maybe more. But like in these conversations, I can tell like, okay, this is a safe space. This is somebody that is legitimately who they say they are. I don't have to, give them some sort of like, litmus test sort of thing. But I can also just kind of ask some questions and kind of see what their response is. And I think that that's a big deal. Sometimes in conversation, we can kind of see where people really stand with stuff. We can tell like how they respond to certain things, whether or not they're going to have the capacity to be able to understand and have compassion for us when we're going through stuff. But I also believe that, and so this is something that has been brought into my awareness just over the past couple of weeks, and I'm drawing healthier boundaries for myself now than I ever have before, because I think this is a very important thing, especially for those of us as leaders, whether we're leaders in our business, in our organizations, or leaders in our communities and different groups that we're in. Like, we have to be very particular about the people that we're allowing into our very closest spaces, because we're sharing energy with these people, and we might be absorbing or taking on some stuff that like we don't really need to have the capacity for. So one of the things that I'm doing to draw healthier boundaries for myself is I'm only available for people that are going to share equal amounts of space and energy and effort and reciprocate connection. And so if it's going to be this one-sided sort of relationship, I'm letting that go. Doesn't matter how much I love the person. And that's been really hard for me because I'm a giving, loving, believe in the absolute best in other people kind of dude. And there are certain people that I want to be close with, but because I have consistently seen over and over and over again that for whatever reason, they don't have the capacity right now to give me the same sort of space that I give them, or I say space, give me the same sort of love and attention and time and meet me where I am with the things that I value that I've given them. I can't make time and space for them anymore. I've got to choose me. And it's nothing personal. It's not that I've suddenly gone into this place where I don't like them or I'm cutting ties and I'm never going to ever see them again. No, it's not that. But I've got, since time is a resource, a valuable resource that, of all the things in the world, time is the one thing that is equal for everybody. And so I've got to be I'm choosing to be very, and time is a very big value to me. I'm choosing to be very careful with how I invest, not just invest my time. And the people that are getting that investment from me are the people that consistently show up with equal and greater measure than what I'm bringing to the table, because those are the people worth investing in.
Man, again, you say, wow, dude. Seeing your value. This is what I mean. It's not about being pompous or distant or any goofy thing that somebody might think. It's about seeing your own value and self-worth and self-respect. That's what that is. You're setting the bar higher. You're growing. You're demanding more of yourself, and then you're going to surround yourself with people who believe the same, who want to push you up. And it's not about other people being bad. Look, I'm at a level now that I've never dreamed I would be at. But I have to have patience because I had people in my life who were patient with me when I was at this level, but they were still waiting for me to be ready to go to this level, to mentor, to push me and coach me. And I think that's the balancing act. How do you, an audience, chime in? how do you say no to somebody? How do you distance or even leave at least one a loving, right? And that's you somebody hurts you or something happened. You're still loving, but you have to move on. I think that's the hard part because nobody wants to. You don't want to move on. That's why you're sad. So, what are some things in your life that helped you say, look, the most loving thing I could do for them and me is to move on and be patient. I can't let them take me down, but I got to move on, right? So, what are some things that you've learned in this challenge?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm going through this challenge right now, so this is very timely. What I'm doing right now is giving myself a ton of grace and a ton of compassion, and realize that like letting go is sometimes like it's the most loving thing you can do, but it's also the hardest thing because you're letting go of what could have been. And if
Yeah.
you've spent any amount of time imagining or dreaming, especially if dreams are involved and your heart's a part of that process and you're letting go of the dream, I mean, I look at it as like, I can continue to toss and turn over this and be upset for why things didn't go the way that I wanted them to, or, whether it doesn't matter what part of our lives it is. Like there's things in my business that I've been working towards for years that I still haven't gotten to. And I'm like, why is this such a struggle for me? Why can't I figure it out? Well, what if I surrender that and let go of this dream in a bunch of different ways? What if I surrender it to God and say like, look, I don't know why this hasn't gone the way that I wanted it to go, but maybe there's something different or something better than what I've been trying to force or like control in some sort of way, shape, or form. What if I surrender it and just be open to something better? Extend that out to every other sort of dynamic, relationships and all kinds of stuff. Like by me having some sort of fixated, it has to be this one thing. It has to be this one whatever. What if I open my hands and I say, okay, I've been holding on, I've been gripping this for so long. I'm going to open my hands and let it go and let things flow and not try to say that it has to be this one way, this one person, this one avenue, whatever. It can be whatever it's going to be. What if in that the universe opens up all of the ways for what we really wanted from the whole thing to actually happen and take place? Because whether we're looking at it as, this angle of success, quote unquote success, however you define that in business or love or anything else, what if by opening the hands, now that can actually come through? Because before it was like, well, I want to give this to you, but you're so fixated on it having to be this one thing that I can't give you what you actually want. If you'll just open up and be open to infinite possibilities, then you can actually get what you want. You don't actually want this one thing. You want the feeling it's going to give you when you have it. And if you'll just allow yourself to feel the feeling without it having to be attached to something else and detach from it, then you can open up the gates of the universe. And I'm learning that detachment is such a massive thing, but we're not taught how to detach. We're taught how to attach. And so much of this, just like everything else, is an unlearning, relearning process.
Yeah, it's dealing with the impermanence of life. The only thing that's constant is change. And what was it? And I keep saying this. Marcus Aurelius, I think, or Epictetus said, we struggle or we suffer more in our minds than reality. And dadgummit, if that wasn't true in my case, my life, same thing goes with worry, right? Most of the stuff I worry about never does happen, right? And attachment is the same thing. And what I found was what you said earlier: surrender, let go. Oh, it sounds great, but you're gonna have to let go 100,000 times sometimes. You're gonna go through pain. You're gonna pick it back up and do stupid stuff with it. And that's here's the fun part. Again, whether you believe in God or not, something bigger than you usually works. And here's what I found. At one point in my life, I said, I can't let go of this because if I let go of this, I won't have anything. My life is over. I won't have friends. I'll be homeless, whatever. And then when I finally got right out of that struggle, I looked around and said, where did all these people come from? Like everything I need was on the other side of that struggle. Isn't that daggum insane? Like I didn't do it. Here's what I felt like. This is what I felt like last year. I felt like the little kid in the passenger seat with the Fisher-Price steering wheel, thinking I'm actually driving the car. Like I remember seeing things and going, Yeah, that'll take 3 weeks. It happened tomorrow. I'm like, well, that's not supposed to happen. How did that happen? I must be real good. Well, then something else would happen. And I'm like, oh, I'm really good. And then one day someone said, that ain't you. And you better stop trying to be, you better stop trying to control the universe or whatever it is going to give it back to you. I said, oh no, I don't want to struggle through that again. And those kind of
Hmm.
conversations, a lot of times, D, we think we have a business problem. We think we have a marketing problem. Most of the time, it's a human growth problem. It's some pain or some kind of mental tape that's really stopping us from taking advantage of that course or that skill. And I know you guys can relate to this out there. Um, you don't have to give your deepest, darkest secret, but tell us, yeah, we get it. And thank you for chiming in. This is a deep convo. So I appreciate you guys commenting and sharing your heart with us too. But we want people to get better. You just can't hold it in. You can't just wish it away. So I have found, and I'll ask you, D, and I'll ask the audience, what is the number one go-to when your life just flips upside down? Some tragic things happen, some paramount loss, friendship, somebody died. What is it your first go-to? And again, hopefully it's positive because my first go-to was not healthy in the first decades, right? Um, but we got, good behavior. So I'll tell you what, my I had a friend recently passed. We knew he was going to pass. He had cancer. All right. It was just time, so 6 to 12 weeks. When I got that text message, I figured out subconsciously later on who my top core people that I can trust is the people I text in that moment. I was working, I was doing stuff. I got that text. I crumbled for a minute. Hey, if these people are who I reach out to immediately, those are probably my core people. Right. So that's my go-to is to reach out to somebody and just say, I'm not all right. What is your go-to when you know that you're about to spiral, stuff's out of control,
Hmm.
emotion city, D?
Well, I do have a short list of people. I'll be honest with you though, man. This is where I've been led to spiritually over the last year or two. What I used to do is I used to I called it my strong circle. When I wrote a book that was published in 2019 called "Be Solid: How to Go Through Hell and Come Out Whole," and that was my book and talking about learning how to love myself after going through that crazy heartbreak. Which I want to make just a simple point. From allowing myself the space to heal from that, now my relationship with my former wife is stronger than it was when we were married. Like the reconciliation is beautiful. Actually, tomorrow she's got a podcast series she's been doing called So Let's Unpack This. And the first 3 episodes are us talking about our marriage and unpacking that. And we recorded that on my birthday last year. So magnificent, monumental healing. I'm actually so we were talking about teachers earlier and how we needed to go through different things. It was part of the process. I hated going through divorce. I hated that heartbreak, but my God, like I'm thankful for what it's produced because I have a closer relationship with myself and a much closer relationship with her. And it opened up the doors for me to be able to serve people and help in ways that I never imagined before. But when I go through, and as I've been going through just different levels of grieving process, this is what I've been doing. First, before I reach out to somebody else to bring them into my world and talk about what it is that I'm going through, for me, I'm checking with myself and letting myself feel the feelings that I need to feel. One of my former patterns was to try to distance myself from myself through distraction or calling somebody and venting or letting it all getting it out all on my chest off or whatever. But what I was really doing was I was trying to either distract myself from feeling what it is that I needed to feel or allowing myself to really process what it was that I needed to go through. And I've learned by, in a way, God saying, okay, I'm not gonna make these same people accessible to you anymore. You need to learn how to do this on your own. You need to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. You need to learn how to actually be solid in yourself while you go through this. And once you are more solid in yourself and you've given yourself the chance to feel the feelings and not run away from the feelings, feel the pain, feel the grief, feel the heartbreak, feel it in your body, feel it in your heart because it's in there already. And the more you try to run away from it, the more that you're suppressing that stuff. I spent a lifetime, most of my life, suppressing my feelings because that's what was showed to me by my parents
Yeah.
and by my culture. And I realized that so many of the blocks that have kept, like energetic blocks, we got enough people in here that understand energy. so many of the energetic blocks that we deal with are because we have suppressed our feelings and not given ourselves permission to feel what's already inside of us. And all those feelings want is the permission to feel and be felt. And once we give fear the permission to be felt, it doesn't stick around. Once we give grief the permission to be felt, it doesn't stick around. It leaves, it dissipates, it becomes something else. And I begin from that place. Does it feel good? No, it feels fucking terrible. But you have to let yourself feel that so that it can transmute and turn into something else, or otherwise you're going to be walking around as a haunted house, and nobody wants to be that. And nobody's going to be able to save you from that. You'll just end up vomiting your pain all over everybody, everywhere you go.
Yeah, and there's so much you said there, man. I know everybody's like stunned. They're like, yeah, because we can relate to this. Is real stuff. And it got real deep, but look, we need to get this out. It's so much freeing. It's not that we're sitting here wallowing in our pity. It's that we're over here going through the journey. It's that whole caterpillar. I'll be honest, man. This is corny. I'm it's just who I am. I said, okay, I went through this terrible because I kept saying I kept feeling like I'm gonna die, man. I can't survive this. This pain and this struggle is too much. And then I remember that goofy butterfly analogy, right? The caterpillar going through the
Mhm.
process and all that jazz. So I finally I said, I'm just gonna lean into it. So I called up a buddy. I said, I feel like I did die from that caterpillar. Now I'm a beautiful redneck butterfly with a camo hat, right? And they're like, good Lord, we don't want to see this cheese ball. Um, but again, you I was tempted, especially being a man, right? We're tempted to skip the process. Well, a
Mhm.
grieving process. Look, if you're a human being and you're not stone cold or deranged, you're going to feel pain when somebody dies. You're going to feel pain when you're betrayed, when you're left out in the corner. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. You're going to feel it. But we don't want to feel it. We're going to say, well, I'm not going to cry over this. I'm going to suck it up, or I don't want to be vulnerable. And you said feeling the feelings. Man, that was my biggest challenge. I sat down with somebody and they said, well, how you feeling? I said, I feel like I want to cry. They said, go ahead and cry. Usually I say, no, I don't. I ain't going, what are you talking about? I was like, whatever. Because I'm a human. I don't cry because I spilled milk. I cry because some tragedy happened and then daggum sad, right? Um, again, fireman, 8 years. I don't cry over anything. I cry when it matters. And I think that's what people need to understand. You know, it's not about being tough. It's about being human and learning your lesson so you can hurry up, share your message, and help other people with it. Because people in my life that were just happen to be here, they've been through it. They were going through it, right? You hear hurt people hurt people. Well, people who have been hurt typically who didn't want to hurt, probably don't hurt you. And that's another thing. A lot of people in my wheelhouse at the time, they were on the same journey. So we were on that same level, right? And that's what I realized. So um, who is it? I mean, multiple people, but how great was it? How did it help your journey, D, and people in the audience? When you can just feel the feelings, that's great. You got to start with you feeling the feelings and accepting and going through that. But to have someone else who can feel it with you and for you, that I think to me, again, someone who can say, wow, that was real messed up. But be self-compassionate, right? You know, it's okay to be a mess, right? A lot of you, well, most of the hounds have been there for me. I mean, dadgum, even new people, Isabel, Jackie, I can name off a ton. CJ, you, tons of people. But what is it that, you know, go ahead and answer it, man. This is so deep, I can't even talk. I'm just over here, just go ahead and just,
Well,
I asked the
if
question.
you're
Go ahead.
gonna ask the growth farmer to come in and talk with you, we're gonna go deep because all
Yeah,
of my
I
roots are
mean,
deep. I don't do surface level anything.
as long as we
But
can become better people and we can move somebody forward, let's do it, man. Who cares? I know it's after 8. You want to go to bed, go ahead. But if you want to stay, we're going to keep rolling for a few minutes.
for me, this is something that I really believe, and I wrote about it in my book, man. I think pain is one of our greatest teachers because it has our undivided attention. And if we will allow ourselves to listen to what it has to say, that's how we transform. That's how we grow. That's how we heal. But if we do what so many people end up doing, So when I went through divorce, I had at the time, and I'm still friends with these guys, but I had about 3 or 4 buddies of mine that had been through the same experience that I went through. But I remember while they were going through it, before I did, I was observing what their decision making process was. A lot of guys got into drugs. A lot of guys got really heavy into alcohol, and a lot of guys got really heavy into going to strip clubs and just trying to, like, screw their way out of their pain. And I saw what that did to them, and I was like, if I ever go through this, I don't want to make those same decisions. And so when I did go through that, I was like, okay, I feel the same urges to try to drown out this pain. I feel the same desire to want to, like, disassociate and go as far away, like bury this, not have to deal with it, not have to process it. What can I do to distract myself? What can I do to consume myself with something else? And as hard as it freaking was to not go down that road, I didn't go down those roads. And I sat with the pain and I let it teach me. And I had some very good friends. So one of my buddies who moved to Ireland, I don't get to see him. I haven't seen him in like 3 years. But I would go over to my buddy Tim's house. And Tim was great at just helping me have fun. And like, I would try to tell him what I was going through, and he couldn't really understand and process like the psychology aspects of it, or like the real painful aspects of it. But he'd be like, "Oh man, it's okay. Let's go play football. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go have fun." And I realized that sometimes when we're part of the grieving process is also getting out of our own way and and doing something that has absolutely nothing to do with the stuff that we're going through, just so we can get out of our own head for a little while and occupy a different space. And that's actually a really healing thing. It's not running away from the pain. It's not distancing yourself from it. It's not adding some sort of addiction, but it is giving yourself the space to be free from all that, so you're not just swimming around in this pit of despair. And then it's also important to have, like you were saying earlier, it's important to have people who are safe spaces for you. I've got a good friend, and I consider him a mentor. His name's Don LaChance. And Don is what he calls an active listener. And I practice this because I aspire to be, and I am, a safe space for a lot of people. I want people to know that when they come and talk with me, I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to criticize them. And I'm also not going to instantly try to offer them advice on what they should do, because I don't actually have answers. What I have is a safe space for people to process their pain. And Don showed me that just by listening and being an active listener, and not trying to like tell you, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. Like, I don't freaking know. I'm not the answer guy. I can call myself a life coach and have all these titles that is supposed to like give me some sort of emblem of, oh, talk to this guy. He knows how to take care of this stuff. Nobody freaking knows. All of our life coach stuff, what we have is we have tools that can help you process your pain and help you get to the other side. But the person that's in charge of that actually makes those decisions is you. And nobody has the answers. We all just have different things that have worked for us to help you move forward. But like ultimately, it really comes down to, are you going to choose to believe in yourself and love yourself and go through this process as difficult as it is? Because I don't know if here's a movie reference, Lord of the Rings. Who went with Frodo to take the ring through Mordor? Sam. Did Gandalf the wizard who had all of the power and all of the might and could do all this stuff, did he go? No. Did Aragorn go? No. Did Legolas go? No. They fought other battles in other places, but Frodo and Sam had to go through that, and Frodo had to go by himself eventually to do the thing. So we have to be willing to go through the Mordors of our lives and like let our guides and let our teachers and let our support system take us up to a certain place, but we have to be willing to go all the way through to come out on the other side, who it is that we are destined to be.
Wow. Yeah. And let's close on this thought, and I'll ask my signature question. But gosh, we got to have a part 2, maybe a 6 before the end of the year. Listen, pain gets our attention, man. I'm a hard-headed, stubborn guy. Right. So I don't really want to go into childhood trauma and stuff, right? Like when things are good, it's when things are not good. And so here's a couple things, hopefully people can take this away, be inspired by it, because people are hurting all the time, man. So, first of all, I learned to lean into it and take personal responsibility. Boy, that is nasty. I don't advise that unless you truly want to grow. There's a reason we avoid personal responsibility because it sucks, at least initially, in my opinion. But again, I thought other circumstances, other people, they did this, she did that, this thing did this company did that. When I stopped and said, "Hey, wait a minute, can't nothing happen to you unless you allow it." If the job and the employer sucks, I could have been building a business. There's always a but or an or an alternative for us to go out there. And that was enlightening to me. That was a game changer, D, to go into that next level and getting out of that struggle. To say, it's all about me. Can't nobody do nothing unless I'm letting it or I'm processing. Or if someone says something, I can process that in a mature way, or I can strike back and get emotional. There's a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. We have that inside of us. So here's how I look at it. You can cap this: tumbleweed versus old oak tree. When the wind blows and not even hard, man, tumbleweeds go all over the place. But it takes a massive tornado, and it takes a little while to get a 100-year oak tree out the ground. It's not easy. And I think that's what I would. Here's my if anybody's still here, here's the only wisdom I probably have. It's not values that I kept worrying about controlling outcomes my whole life. Outcomes. Well, what if I do this, this will happen. If I do that, that'll happen. That's what you were saying earlier. If I do this, she will love me, right? Now, principles. That's the only alternative. Chime in if you're still here. Principles is the only thing. Values. I'm going to act out of this value. It might be a crap outcome, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's how I value. And often, man, more times than not, good things happen. Great things happen. I let go of stuff because I said, this is my value. I'm going to value myself. I'm going to do this for people. Woo, I didn't want to do it, right? But I did it. So that's the visual. Am I going to be a tumbleweed or am I going to be a daggum mighty oak tree? Because I'm not going to tumble like that. And it's not a bragging thing. It's an internal decision that if I'm strong and I'm okay, then I can go out and help other people be strong and okay. If I'm a tumbleweed, I'm not going to be of use to people for very long. How do you see that?
100% like you did. I think that it's a common thing to be a tumbleweed and get tossed around by the wind. It's uncommon to root down real deep, whether you're an oak tree or a banyan tree or a sequoia. Like, what makes those trees strong and able to withstand 100-mile-an-hour winds for long periods of time and not get uprooted and thrown around all over the place is those roots go down way deep. And not only do they go down real deep, but what's interesting is inside the forests that have these trees, those roots are interconnected with the other plant life down there. So going back to what you were saying about the power of community and the power of really strong connections, surface level connections don't have that kind of power. But you root down real deep and go real deep with people, like we've gone real deep tonight. All the people that are here tonight, all the hounds that are here tonight, we're all deep people. We're all big-hearted people. We all feel each other's feelings and feel each other's pain, and we've got each other's back. And so this is a root down deep inside yourself and being solid inside yourself, but also being solid and being supported inside these deep communities. And I think that that's really the key for being able to have the kind of growth, the kind of healing, and the kind of prosperous future that we aspire to have.
Yeah, I was checking out some comments, man. It is amazing the people that we're surrounded by. Again, this is the thing. Yeah, we do business. Yes, we're successful. We're not the hounds of leisure or whining, but dadgummit, I think we're so successful in business. We're so successful in our endeavors, our collaborations, because we actually care. That you can't fake that. I actually care. Listen, I've had projects where I probably made 10 cents an hour when it was said and done because I cared a little too daggum much, maybe. But I cared about the person. If I didn't care about the person, it was just some random transaction. Hell, I'd been out of there days ago. But I cared about the individual, right? On a much deeper level. And here's the good thing. I say it all the time. If you're real discerning, you don't do it to get something back or expect it. But good people reciprocate. That's what this is about. When somebody calls me out of the blue and I'm busy and they start, pouring out their heart. Yeah, I get it because you did it for me. Other people done it for me. I got to do it for someone else. Like that's the reciprocity. And again, when I'm feeling better, um, I do better business. When I'm mentally healthy and I'm healthy inside, I'm surrounded by people and positivity. It push me up. Man, my game is so much better. So maybe you don't need a new exercise diet. Maybe you don't need a supplement. Maybe you got enough of those. Maybe what you need is an overhaul. Maybe you just need to get real with yourself, take responsibility, and find you some people that can relate to you at this moment, especially when you grow. Because it's you can outgrow people. People outgrown me. I didn't like that. I couldn't believe I'd actually outgrow another human being, right? It just means that we're not there yet. It's just we're going to the next level. In fact, I met somebody the other day. I said, "Wow, that's next level." Wonder if they're willing to put up with me because I'm not even at that level yet, right? And that person's patient because they're like, "Yeah, your level kind of sucks, right? But I'm here for you." And, so I think that's what it's a hard attitude. Like, I don't call people up in the hounds, and they don't call me for like a technical therapy session. They know not to call me. I have people, but um, they call me because I can relate and I care, and I can probably connect them to somebody, or I can send them a text message and say, "You got this." I can do a nice thing to help push them up. That's all it takes, man. Don't we? I'm so sick of people talking about mental health and all this jazz. I want to see it. Stop talking about it and send a daggum text message. It's so
Mhm.
great. Get up in the morning. You know what I do when I'm upset? It's the goofiest thing. And now I'm spilling the beans because now the hounds are like, that's why he does it. Man, if I'm feeling like crap, I send out messages about how great people are. Not
Mhm.
flattery, stuff. I mean this stuff. So,
Mhm.
hey, if somebody gets up at 7 and goes, "What why the hell did he send that?" Well, now you know because you can't be grateful, grumpy at the same time. You can't show
Mm.
gratitude and love and sit there
Mm.
and waller in your pity. It's real hard. Try it. Try to be real
Mm.
emotionally damaged and then go tell somebody
Mhm.
how much you care about them and make them smile.
Mm.
Dude, right? Or you can be a tough guy, right? And be miserable, make everybody else miserable. That's an option. But that's what I think out there, guys. Just stop all the goofiness. Just talk to somebody. Like even Lion, right? Good old Lion, he's over there. He's not feeling good today. He's a special forces guy. This is not a, that's a want to get technical. But he's okay. He understands that he's a human. He opens up about stuff, man. And that's just, we got to cut the stuff. He doesn't sit around and whine about stuff, but he's open, and he doesn't hide it. So my tips, I'm going to end on this. Just discern people, test people, give them a little bit and see what they do with it. Give them a little bit more, right? Allow that for other people as well, right? Test people in that. It's not wrong. I call it testing. I don't know. Maybe there's a better word for it. But I like to see how people respond before I go crying about some stuff that I definitely don't want the wrong person to know, right? And so
Mhm.
discern, but put yourself out there because that's the only way to healing. Well, I don't know how to heal. That's because you're held up in your house by yourself and you're not making a phone call. You're not sending a text message, and then that leads to serious issues, man. Alcoholism, suicide. So this is serious business we're talking, but reach out to somebody. That's the very best thing. What do y'all think? What do you think, D? Closing remark.
I
That was
man, it's
deep. I
so
made you crash like Windows 95, man. Go ahead.
Whoa! Boom! I think that's the best mic drop comment
Boom.
I've heard all day. Made me crash like
Yeah, I
Windows
get a letter
95.
now. I
Well,
don't think Bill watches my show. I'm safe. Go ahead.
I don't think he
We'll
really
see.
cares. But actually, I think Bill will probably agree with you there.
Dude, I put that on my refrigerator. I'm waiting for it. Papa John's supposed to send me a cease and desist order too, but I never got it. So go ahead. I'm
So
waiting for it.
one of the things I love about you, Mike, is you've got more classic, catchy, witty one-liners than anybody on earth, and they just spew out of you without you even like being aware of it. Like thank God this show is being recorded so we can go back and replay. Aside from all the deep conversations and the wonderful wisdom and the magnificent story that we heard at the beginning with Kristen and everything, like your little one-liners, man, right there. I think that to answer your question, um, so much of like getting up in the morning is a decision, and we can have an attitude about that decision of, man, I have to do this, man, I have to do this, or man, I get to do this. And when we have the awareness, I heard a teacher, and I've been saying this over and over again, awareness is 90% of the work. Actually, it might even be more than that. Awareness might be 95% of the work. But having the awareness of, I'm not in a good attitude, I'm not in a good mood right now, I'm not feeling very good about myself. Am I going to let my feeling dictate who I am and how I live? Am I going to let this thing that I'm going through take precedent and be the king that rules over me and governs over me in the ways that I feel about myself and my attitude? Or am I going to rise above that? Am I going to put on my own Superman shirt and cape? Put on my crown, tilt it back right up so it's standing upright like it's supposed to. King or queen, doesn't matter who you are. Am I going to wear my crown today, or am I going to let somebody else tell me who I'm supposed to be? And let this other situation outside of me dictate the way that I'm going to show up and who I'm going to be and how I'm going to feel about things. And that's a decision that not only do we make at the start of the day, but like you were saying earlier about forgiveness and about growth and about perseverance and about everything, these are decisions that we make over and over and over again throughout the course of the day on a moment by moment basis. And on a moment by moment basis, if you're choosing to be first in your own life, love yourself first, be solid in who you are and solid in what it is that you believe about yourself. And if that means that you are an uncommon person because everyone else around you is wallowing in complaint, wallowing in self-pity, pissed off at the world, letting whether or not the economy is doing well and everything's going great or everything sucks or whatever dictate the way that you feel about things. If you have to stand on your own little island and be your own uncommon person, but not bowing to the throes of anything or anyone else, be that. Do that, because that's the way that you take the power back and you live as your best self. That's the best story to live.
Wow. And, you know, if someone doesn't like you or your story or your words and they're critical, now I'm not talking about helping people. Like, you know, I take constructive feedback, but I only take criticism from people I know have my best interests at heart. If you don't have my best interests at heart, personally, I don't want to hear from you. And I think that's one of the things. As you evolve, other people evolve, you know, people go through things. So stop taking it personal. So just understand, hey, they might be going through some stuff. I'm going through some stuff. And try to be rational and get out of that emotional mind. So if somebody doesn't like you and it becomes a drag, quit hanging out with them. It's really that simple. And he said, "Oh, well, I'll never have any friends." Okay, I looked around and was like, wow, there's a lot of people standing here waiting for me to stop crying and start doing. So here's the last, we'll close it out because I know there's a handful of people. I know we went long, but we need this. This is it turned into a little therapy session and I'm happy about it. So what's that one baby step, D? You know, somebody in that emotional state, they're going to go, you know, they're losing it. You can't think rationally in that state. You know, what can they do? That one little action step that can change it, that can really put them on the path to greatness and doing something, you know, special through that pain. What is that baby step, man, for you?
For me, and by the way, I've made this recommendation to countless people. The people that do it transform their lives in a moment. The people that don't because they're too macho and they say, oh, I can't do that. That's too silly. That's too cheesy. They're going to suffer for a long time. Go find a mirror. Look yourself dead in the eye and say, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No matter what, I love you and I got you. Because that's what you want somebody that you love to tell you about how they feel so that you'll believe in yourself again. But when that source is you and it comes from you and you will mean it, even if you don't feel it all the way, look yourself in the eye, give yourself that love and that determination and that grit of it doesn't matter. I've got you. Because here's the thing. You are the one person that you can't live without. That is a physical, literal, absolute freaking truth. It's not even it's a metaphysical thing. Sure. It's a philosophical thing. Sure. It's a literal thing. Since you're the one person that you can't live without, who deserves your absolute undying fidelity? You. So give it to yourself.
And I'll close out real quick on one last thing on that. After you do that in the mirror, call a friend or someone you trust. I had somebody call me, don't know me that well. That's the highest honor on earth. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. But you know what I did? You know what I did? I threw the kitchen sink at them. Hit them with everything I could possibly give them, man. Support, whatever could take their mind off of that tragedies, many of them at once. and put them on that path. There's, what can I say? I tell you, hey, join me, come with me. Being alone is the worst thing that can happen when you're going through some major, massive catastrophe or obstacle or anything else. And you got to stop doing it. And it's amazing. And you said, well, nobody's going to take me serious. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. There's people all over the place that you can reach out to. I mean, I was on Jackie's thing. There's 45 people at least to 60, right? That's how I met Damien. I would call them any moment. I don't need to know them for too long. I know their heart, right? They're just talking about tragedy. You reach out to them and say, hey, I'm going through some stuff. Yeah, you can talk to me. So just be a friend. And you're probably going to find a friend in these moments. And then the whole point of this is to go through it wisely, right? Not skipping steps, not trying to, put your head in the sand. Go through it, learn the lessons, seek wisdom, read stuff, go to therapy, just take action after action. And then you'll figure out and learn why you went through it. That's the whole thing. Well, why has this happened to me? Keep going through it, because I promise you won't even remember the struggle that much. All right. I've went through it many times in life, and each time I don't even sit and dwell on it. I'm just like, wow, look where I'm at now. Like I couldn't have what I have today and be able to give so much and help people if I didn't go through that. I mean, I went through, I mean, I don't lead with it. We talk about, recovery, alcohol. Well, 7 years later, I get a phone call, hey, I help that person not go through that. You know what I mean? It's just amazing things that you're capable of. So go through your mess. Nothing wrong with you. All right. You just going through some stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't wrong with the rest of the world since the beginning of time. All right. So reach out to each other. We're in a therapy session, but they're packed. They get it. They've been there. They're not going to judge you, and they can probably nudge you in the right daggum direction. So on that note, we went long, and I'm glad we did, because we'd be backstage talk about this anyway. And those who stuck in, appreciate your contributions. I mean, this is hard stuff to talk about in public. But somebody's got to do it. And appreciate that guy being UD. And we go back to, we got to find it. We got to put this up here. Kristen, she set the stage for this deep subject, but we can't bear her head in the sand. Sometimes we have to have a deep, non-joking around live stream. We got to help people in need right now. And if you're not inspired by her, I don't know what the hell will inspire you. Okay. Let's go support her. Let's just say hi, thank you. Let's boost the post, whatever you can do. Don't have to cost money. Just say, hey, praying for you, being there for you. You inspired me. All right. And go do that the next time you feel like crap. Text somebody, man. Say, hey, I appreciate you. And so that's all I got, man. You're a good dude. Any last little thing, or you ready to rock, brother?
I appreciate everybody that came out tonight. Thanks for going 30 minutes over. Thanks for being deep with us. Thanks for swimming in the deep ocean, man. This was wonderful, Mike. Thank you for what it is that you do, all the different things that you do. You do all kinds of stuff that nobody gives you the recognition and the credit for, and stuff that, man. When I think about the amount of stuff that's on your plate, the fact that you give any of us any amount of time, like of your personal time, to be able to like connect and everything, like it means the world to me, dude. So thank you for being you, man.
Yeah, I feel the same. I appreciate it. It's still hard for me to hear that, but I appreciate that, and it's amazing. I got people just like me in that regard. They still feel this, I can't believe I'm surrounded by people pushing up other people, and it's a compound effect. It's unbelievable. So yeah, going through pain, tragedy, don't do it alone. Get around like-minded people. You have a mission and a purpose through this noise, through this pain. You've got to keep going. So hey, once you get your mind right, once you go through these struggles, yeah, your business will grow, your marketing stuff will happen. You'll start connecting on a higher level. And just have grace and patience with yourself and others, man. Love other people, love yourself. Sometimes that's not easy, but do it any daggone way. So without further ado, I'm going to find, if I can find the daggum thing. See, I need my lion and Isabel, and like my safety nets are gone, and I'm like an etch a sketch over here. Like, so we appreciate everybody. We love you guys. We will see you on the next one. And oh, by the way, next week, well, it's Danielle. She is amazing. Guys, you don't want to miss next week. Scan the QR code. Be a part of something amazing. You won't regret it. So I'll see you on the next one, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.